Welcome to our SAS diary for Son of Nor number 93. As we are working more and more on endgame content, I think it's a great opportunity to dig a bit into the history of Son of Nor. Last week we had terraforming, the week before telekinesis. Watch the episodes if you missed them. Today we are going to have a look at elemental magic. The magic system was really a tough nut to crack. It is the game system that went through the most iterations, and all of those iterations were really fundamental. So let's look at the early days of Son of Nor. It's late 2011. Magic was a power that was closely connected to sand and telekinesis. This was version 1. The way you could invoke spells was to conjure balls of sand in a specific pattern. You know, triangles, squares, stars. We thought it would be fun to let players discover those patterns on their own or find inscriptions while exploring temples, and then share their findings. In this example, sand was clicked in a rectangular pattern. If a pattern was recognized by the game, it would activate this spell for the player for a one-time use. Players had to then click again to really cast the spell, like the implosion spell we see here. Or tornadoes like this. Sounds complicated? It was complicated. Imagine a battle situation. You getting around a corner and running into an enemy, and then starting to wildly conjure balls of sand in hopefully accurate patterns. To be fair, Son of Nor was not meant to be a fast-paced action game, more of an open-world exploration adventure with a heavy focus on story. Yeah, as if a 5-man team could pull that off. Maybe this thoughtful casting system would have worked in puzzles, but it obviously didn't in fights. We wanted faster battles, so we started to iterate and make casting faster. There was a switch from pattern-based casting to a more direct gesture casting system that worked as follows. This was version 2. It's now early 2012. Instead of conjuring balls of sand, you now draw lines and dots with magical rays. Activate the wind ray and hold it for a sand tornado. By treating it with more wind ray energy, you could make it stronger. It would even move nearby rocks. Point a fire ray on the ground to get a fireball. Now the fireball would just sit there and you needed telekinesis to move and throw it. To counter magic spells and telekinetic attacks, you could draw shields with horizontal lines. Shields of fire magic protected you against magic attacks. Shields made of wind magic protected against physical telekinesis attacks, and so on. Players had to figure out what shield is good to counter what attack and react quickly in a combat. Combining magic was already possible too. Adding fire energy to an existing sand tornado transformed it into a fire tornado. Add death energy, was it called like that back then? I think so. Anyway, add death energy to a fireball and it would transform into a deadly fire trap, waiting for enemies to step on it. Once created, spells didn't belong to anybody anymore. This means in multiplayer deathmatches, which we tested back then, your opponent could steal your fireball you crafted, or turn your sand tornado into a fire tornado and then send it back at you. We thought it would create a nice attack-counter-attack dynamics. We thought. I mean, it sounds great and tactical. Steal spells from your enemies and use it against them. React to what enemies do. It turned out though, in a fast-paced fight, having to craft spells, prepare them, make them stronger, take them with telekinesis, shoot them, wasn't that fun at all. It cost too much time. I'm really surprised that after figuring out sandball patterns were no good, we didn't see this coming. It was slow, and having your masterpiece fireball stolen and hurled at you was frustrating. What then happened in playtesting was that no player took the risk of creating bigger spells, conjuring only quick spells like small fireballs, throwing them at each other and dancing around one another. This clearly wasn't the solution. On to spellcasting system number 3. It's only a few weeks after early 2012, and fortunately this one only exists on paper. We wanted to keep the combination of magic. We thought it was a cool and unique idea, but we needed to increase the speed of casting spells and combinations, as we have seen in earlier playtesting. Instead of combining spells on the spot during a fight, in System 3 you had to build your magic spells and combinations in advance in a special editor, building mini-machines of magic using various types of magical building blocks, so to speak. Sounds complicated? Yes, I'll give you an example before moving away from this crazy concept. So, add a gravitation building block. Let a fireball circle around it like a planet around the sun. Add a divider building block to create a fireball throwing machine, making the fireball split into 2 fireballs each time it circles through the divider block. Arm this spell machine, cast it somewhere in a fight, and have your magic machine throw fireballs. Crazy, right? A nice touch of this idea though was that machines were individual. Every player could have their own inventions, creating new and cool things, sort of a crazy machines for magic. And we, as developers, could have added new building blocks to keep things interesting over time. Which brings me to today's magic system. Magic is not something you have from the start. You have to explore temples Indiana Jones style and get their power. Then you need to charge energy of that particular element to cast it. You can get energy from your surrounding, like this wind devil or fireplace. Absorb it, then it can be cast immediately 3 times. Wind pushes away things and enemies, carves passages into sand, fire burns enemies, makes rocks become fireballs, turns sand into glass. After every released charge, an active field of that magical type remains for a few seconds. After casting wind, a wind field remains. After casting fire, a fire field remains active. These can now react with other elements. And this is how we implemented magic combinations today. Cast wind to push away enemies, then switch to fire and cast fire into the active wind field to make those two react into a fire tornado, taking everything with it on the way. Cast fire to get a fire field, then add essence, the magic of life and death, to make the fire come alive in the form of a fire snake, looking for opponents and exploding. And this works also nicely in multiplayer. One player can attack with a fire burst, while the other one adds wind to it. It's quick, fast-paced, and works very well in fights. And magic in general interacts with telekinesis and terraforming as well. Get rocks, enhance them with wind magic to create supersonic bullets. Enhance with fire to get fireballs. Throw a fire burst onto sand and get new ammo to throw, or add fire magic to it. It's mix and match. Magic is a great and complex feature, and we hope you'll have a ton of fun discovering what it's capable of in action-packed fights and mind-bending puzzles. And this concludes our historic look at what happened with Son of Norse core features in the past 3 years of development. If you're interested in Son of Nor, an early access version is now available on Steam. Get it there. That's it for this week. Tell us what you think in the comments or in the forums. And make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, share our video, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter to stay up to date. All links are in the description below. Thanks for watching. See ya.